Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Science of Superpowers. And we are here for a very, very, very special edition because this is Black History Month here in the United States. And so excited to have with us Dr. Latoya Davis. Hi, Latoya, how are you?
Hi, such a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I'm doing well.
So excited to talk with you today, all about generational conditioning, how we can release that, right? Because this month we're shining on Black women and those who identify in that as that in our spaces, doing this work. We just want to shine a light on the tremendous contributions that we've seen out of that space, right? All of the voices that get to come together now and say, hey, we had a small taste of like, what would it be like if it wasn't like it was, right? It's like, hey, we all want to get our voices in there, right? Hold up, wait, we want to see it this way. Wait, this was fun too. And so I love hearing like how the energy movements and these mass kind of social movements are happening in different spheres and different influences. And so I love that you're here today. I'm so excited for you to share your brilliant work with our audience. And so we're not going to hesitate anymore. Oh, we are actually, because before we get started, I want to read the Superpower Network and our statement for this month. So the Superpower Network celebrates Black History Month in honor of priceless contributions to the betterment and welfare of us all. Let's shine brightly on the 2023 theme of resistance as we uplift the efforts of so many who endeavored against great odds to show us the light. May we walk side by side to heal the past so we can step forward together. We love you, love each other. Beautiful. So thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Latoya, for being here with us today. And our question to you is, what are your superpowers and how are you using them for good?
Yes, I love that question. And even just the framing it of superpowers, right? So I think that my superpower really is being able to get people to understand beliefs that they're holding on to, whether they are their own personal beliefs, beliefs that they've inherited from their parents, beliefs that they've inherited from generations or people that they don't know, societal, really being able to get those beliefs and understand how they are holding them back from showing up in their best self, right? I am all about forget what everybody else has taught you in the ways that you are been conditioned to think and do what feels most natural to your soul. Right. And so that is what I do. And I believe that how I help the world is because the more people that are able to show up authentically, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 100% of the time, it reduces like just the bitterness. It reduces the judgment, right? Because you get to be you. You have no reason to be mad at anybody else. Right. And so I think
it's so simple, right?
My contribution.
Oh, beautiful. I love everything that you said there and how you put it together. It's the willingness and to kind of step outside the box. In what you were speaking to me in our frame up, it's like there's this cellular confidence that happens. And when you're sitting in that kind of cellular confidence, it's like, what else is there other than just to move forward then and create? And it's sort of, we've been playing in our spaces a little bit with this idea of like, you go from sort of this, I am this way because this happened to me, to I'm going to choose to be this way so that this can happen for me. And you can't rush that, right? Like we talked about, like there are things that we have to turn around and look at, right? That's the process. We liken it to the life review process, right? You can do that now. You don't have to wait till you die. Like, in fact, we recommend doing it now. Yes. Every stage you can look back on with light and allow creative aspects, your highest aspect, whatever it is that you can connect into beyond, the judgmental mind, and say, wait, what else was going on here, right? What is the lighted version of all of this? And who was I through it? And what did I learn? And just allowing those beautiful things to come up, it gives us the confidence to be wholly who we are. And to your point, when we're wholly who we are, we're not worried about how other people are being, right? If anything, we're like, hey, you can have this too. Like, I don't actually want what you have, actually. Right. That doesn't look so fun. I'm gonna do me over here, right? And there's real power, self-empowerment in that. And the movement from saying, hey, like we learned, like we can't control people, right? It's just never going to work, but we can have some semblance of management over our own energetic expressions, and that dictates what our experiences are, right? But we can't do that if we don't know what's playing out under the surface. And so how do you work with that, right? I mean, you at your PhD, college professor, you're big in the community and arch, right? A mother of two, like
Yes.
not like you haven't had anything going on. And yet I believe, probably you found what a lot of us find, which is like there's no way to have all that going on if you're not willing to kind of build a really solid foundation of your own programs, or at least programs you're aware of that you had some input into, right?
Yes.
How do you work with people with that?
You know, for me, all things are energy, right? That is the underlying thing of everything. And once you understand that, that is the theme that carries through everything that I do. So as you mentioned, I practice a lot of modalities, but at the end of it, for me, they all come back to the idea that it's all energy. And I'm just choosing to look at energy in a different way, depending on where you are, right? Because the other thing is not all people respond to the same thing. So primarily, my modalities are the Akashic records, and I do ancestral lineage healing, or, releasing or reconditioning throughout the ancestral lineage. And now I'm really diving into this like neuroplasticity and all of that stuff. But what I realized, and so this is how life is, I don't want to call it funny, but life is intentional, even when you're not aware of its intention, right? So my ancestral lineage healing process is not something that I ever set out to do. It wasn't something that I studied. It wasn't any of those things. I am a spiritual intuitive and a medium. So I had been working with ancestors for over 20 years, but through the space of African traditional religion, we really honor and venerate ancestors in a particular way, right? And it's really more about how are you, you give them to this so they can give you this, right? You go to them to get permission so that you can do these things. There was this type of relationship. So when I was doing my Reiki work, my mentor was like, hey, they're telling me you're going to do ancestral lineage healing. No, you're going to do lineage. You're going to do work to heal the ancestors. And I was like, what? Heal the ancestors? This was like not even a concept or an idea. And mind you, at this point, I had been working with and being a medium for like 20 years. But the idea of healing something had never come to me. And I'm thankful that she was persistent, that they're like, nope, this is what you're going to do. And even though I had no idea what that was, I believe that I'm never put in a position to fail. Right? I believe the universe supports me in all things that I set out to do. And so if this thing had come to me, then this clearly was something that I was supposed to give. And so one day she was like, I'm in New York. I was in New York. She lives in New York. Come do a session. And so I went, literally no idea what I was going to do. But I said, all right, whoever gave me this thing, download now, right? It's go time. And she had the most remarkable session, her words, not mine. Right. She said she had been working through money things. She had gone to all type of hypnotherapists, and she's a hypnotherapist, right? Had done all of this work. And the part that was missing was looking at how these things were traveling through her ancestral lineage. So yes, she was doing the things to clear them within her, right? But there was this whole other component that she had not looked at. And so I started doing this modality, and people were getting results and calling other people and referring other people. And next thing I know, I clearly was doing ancestral lineage healing work. And then books started falling in my lap, or podcasts. And I realized that what I was doing was it was taking these ideas that I had never studied, and it just put them together for me in a nice little package. And now on the back end, it was teaching me the what, the how, the why these things work, right? And so I was like, this is like, be there by faith, walk by faith.
Yeah, that's it. That sounds familiar.
And so my thing is always, does the work work? When people say, well, what does it work? And if it works, we don't need to exactly know or figure it out. Trust that it works. And then later what you need to know will come to you.
Always. Understanding always comes, but that's why they call it faith, right? You got to be able to step out first, right? And then I've had the exact same experience. It's like I always get understanding, but if I wait for understanding, I don't get the experience, right? I may get it down the road, but I missed out on everything. It's like I've learned to jump when I hear jump, not because I have to, or I fear some sort of retaliation if I don't, It's freaking fun. Like, I can't imagine any other way of being. It's the coolest way to live, right? But anyway, that's another story, right? Flying through the field, we could have that conversation. And the field's funny, folks. Kind of makes me wonder how many people are struggling with money issues. Might want to look at some white guilt challenges in their ancestral line. Like, if you want to come up with an incentive to get folks on track, it's like, yeah, guess what? Your businesses are drying up, your money's drying up, your relationships are drying up. You don't know which end is up. You might want to take a peek at where you're hiding from some feelings of shame and guilt about how you came about your existence, right? As all of this stuff comes to light. I
Yes.
recommend facing it head on, folks. It's there. You can't run away from it. It's
Yes.
present. And so having the courage to go, okay, cool, so I'm going to drop a little dangle here because we're going to cut to a break here on the audio side of the house. I say we're going to talk about race when we come back. So prepare yourselves. If you're not interested, then you should probably duck out now. But outside of, I don't know why you'd be listening to my show if you're not going to go into those conversations with me, because you've been through worse with me up to this point. But we'll talk about that when we come back, because we got to talk about it, folks. Like, there's stuff in all of this, right? I love the whole idea. We want to change the world. We want to do that, but we don't want the world to change. It's like, well, it's just not going to work that way. It doesn't work that way. So anyway, I love this stuff, as you can tell. So Latoya, let's make sure we can tell people, or we're telling people where to go to find out more about you.
Yes, so I am on social media, Instagram and Facebook at Chi Healing Institute, and that's CHI Healing Institute. And my website is chiheal2.com. Again, CHIHEALTU.com.
Beautiful. Wherever you're listening to this, we'll have all of those links on the episode page. So if you get over to superpowerexperts.com, you can find all that stuff right there. Also, while you're over there, get signed up for our next experience, folks. Just like Latoya is saying, don't take our word for it. You know the CIFA modality, creative energy field activation, folks. Come see for yourself. Like, it's not, we didn't do it. It's energy. It's yours. You can have it. And we're just showing you how to use it. So come have the experience. It's fun. It's like a beautiful light massage at the lowest end and an amazing ride on the highest end. Depending on where you come into the experience, depends on what kind of experience you're going to have. But it's always a fun time. So get signed up for our next experience and stay with us. Those of you on video, we're going to take a short pause here and sit quietly, while those on video or audio, you're going to get a fun commercial. So one moment, we'll be right back. Awesome. We're back. You're listening to the Science of Superpowers. You're watching the Science of Superpowers, perhaps. And we're talking all about how Dr. Latoya Davis, right? This woman right here is helping people in terms of releasing generational conditioning. This is huge, folks. And then some of you are like, what, who, where? Kind of like Latoya was like, you want me to do what? And that's a thing. And that's the field, folks. When you sign up for this journey, like, you're going for a ride, and it takes you all kinds of fun places. And so before the break, I was teasing you, saying we were coming back and talking about race, but we do need to talk about race, because when we're talking about generational things, particularly in the United States, and we're not the only ones with challenges in this conversation, but we are willing to talk about them. We are willing to face them. We are willing to look at them, and everyone else is kind of dealing with it in their own way. And here we've seen some real shifts happen. And folks, we're looking at tremendous opportunities if we take advantage of them, right? And what happens next really is up to all of us, right? What we want to live in, the kind of world we want to live in, we have some influence over, right? And if we don't want to live in the world like it was, if we don't want to deal with the uncertainties and we're not going to stop that. But if we don't want to deal with this idea of like these things that we thought we could believe in and trust, and we're always there, foundational things that some of you are going, wait, what happened here, right? What did the pandemic do? Like, why is everything weird? And why do I think I might be going crazy? And who am I, right? Like, all of that stuff, you're not alone. First of all, I don't know anybody who went through the pandemic on this globe that doesn't have some questions right now about the nature of reality and who we are and how it all works together, right? Maybe that was the point. I don't know. But here we sit, and here in the United States, we have a real opportunity to peel back some layers and to say, hey, the light's trying to poke through in some of these conversations. And many of us are in there chiseling away, trying to get more fissures going, because we see that everything that we want as a global community at the highest level, right, of how we can coexist and co-create together and be in a harmonious environment together, rests on our willingness to turn around and look at what's happened and how it happened and what were the results, right? This is science, folks. This was an experiment. It didn't work. This happened. This didn't work. This was the intention and motivation behind this. And look at the tremendous results, the terrible results that occurred because of it. We can sit there and have these conversations, right? Because first of all, you can't apologize for something you didn't do, but you can apologize for running away from your own feelings about it and creating more of the same. That's a problem we're having, right? So where we were complicit, where we were complacent, where we didn't want to talk about it. And so really quickly here, Latoya, as we're coming into this, I want, as you go into these conversations, what are you seeing in the race conversation as it connects into the energy conversation? And I know there's a lot here. What's coming forward right now for you?
You know, the interesting thing is, one, I believe in order to deal with something, we have to be able to name it, right? We have to know that it's a thing and be willing to address it. And I'm actually going to start with my own, like my first level of areas where I didn't even realize that I had some type of conditioning, right? So when we talk about ancestral work and we talk about things that are within us or conditioning or ideas, you know, Black people are definitely given different standards or expectations to live, right, as we talk about white people. And so particularly when we're looking through the lens of religion, right, there's a very clear divide on how one side approaches or lives and then the other side. And it's like these two things do not come together, right? And so because my background was African, or before I got to kind of this larger idea of energy, I came out of African traditional religious systems. There is a bit clear, there's a certain set of people who are supposed to do this, and then there's a certain set of people who are not supposed to do this, right? And so my first set of clients were people that I knew. And I remember doing work and it was fine. No problem. I could tap in, got it. And I opened my booking calendar and the name came through that seemed to me to not be of a person of color. And I was like, am I going to be able to connect with their ancestors? Like,
Oh,
what
wow.
am I like? And I really, like, I went through, should I cancel? Like, I went through all of these things because I legitimately did not know if I could connect with their ancestors, right? So I had to take a moment and check in with myself, right? And figure out what was happening and where this stuff was coming from. And again, though, I went back to spirit never brings me something that I can't do. So we're going to push forward. And what that experience taught me after that session, one, it taught me that I could connect, but that essentially we are still all the same, because the issue that came up, this person was having problems with speaking. They wanted to be a comedian, but they had fear around, like, basically standing up and talking. Going out, anytime they would shrink, they wouldn't use their voice. And when I went in to do the work, comes to find out, I don't remember the details now, but she was there long time ago. They were immigrant, and her family had basically learned to not be seen, right? So they learned to, you know, put the head down, not do anything, not show up, and that had been passed down to her. And I was like, that's the same thing that we deal with, right? Yes, the reasons are different, but the way it shows up is the same, right?
The program or the energetics,
right,
like
it's the same. The inability to talk, the inability to take up space, the fear of taking up space, that program gets clicked on within us as an individual because the program exists. And it didn't not come to me because I was Black, or not go to this person because they were white, or not go to this person because they were, the same program literally happened in everybody. Right. And so if in my mind, I'm only like, nope, only Black people have that issue. Only Black people have that issue. So now I'm only addressing half the population. What happens, not even half, but I'm only addressing a subset of the population. What happens when you only clear this minute amount of things and everybody else still has the same thing, right? Energetically, what happens? It just gets reconditioned, right?
That's right.
Because this little thing isn't strong enough to hold off the energy of all of these other things. So if we're talking about holistic healing and we're talking about elevation and how are we making an impact in community, we can't just say, that's a this problem or that's a Black problem. I do though believe that one of the areas that I study, not in my energy work, but is around kind of anti-racist organizing principles. And I do believe that there is a difference in the work that we show up and do in community, right? And I do believe that when we are showing up and doing work in community, that the work that is being led needs to be led by the people of that community, right? I definitely, as an organizer, right, as someone who does community programming, right, when I go into a community, if I am not of that community by whatever standards that community deems me to be of that community, I take a step back so that someone in that community can lead. But when we're talking about energy, the soul is the soul is the soul, without color, without concept. All of the other things are conditioning that we've built on and added up over time. And so when I'm doing energy work, that's the thing that I have to put forward. And sometimes though, it does requiring on my side and my client side, right, to move past this 3D body, right, to allow for even receptivity for some of the stuff that's going to come up. We have to move past the 3D body.
Latoya, you and I are going to have a lot to talk about. So I made you a promise I was going to hold to a time frame, and I've already broken that because I don't want to stop talking with you. But we're going to do that. We're going to talk more because we found the exact same thing in our spaces through our models and our body of work. And so we're going to have some conversations about how to do this, folks. Please go check out Latoya's work. Please keep in mind that we do not know very much about what we think we know, and it would do us all well maybe to start off with that, like, I don't know. I'm going to start clean. I want to learn new, right? Fresh eyes, fresh mind. I don't know what programs are running under there, so I'm going to make new ones, right? And just kind of open your eyes and open your heart. And what really helps with that is the SIFA process. So if you're finding it hard to kind of open your hearts and settle into yourself and not be upset or not be scared, let us help you remember how to do that for yourself, how to get to peace within yourself so you can listen differently, right? So we can maybe hear the words that aren't being shared because we're not sure how to share them, or just feel each other with our hearts, right? And so let's honor that piece. Get signed up for the SIFA process. Go check out Latoya's work. Latoya, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for your courage in walking through some pretty cool spaces to say, hey folks, I think we can do this. Hey, it's okay, right? Like wait, look what we found. It's an exciting place to be sitting, and I see real promise in it. So I love the fact that you're diving around in there and digging around and pulling on threads also. And we will share notes here soon. So thank you so much for your work in the world. And to all of you out there, thank you so much. Dr. Latoya, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Beautiful. We love you all. And until next time, head over to superpowerexperts.com. But we will see you again soon. Goodbye for now.